Hey everyone, I hope you are all well. As you know, I was previously a flight attendant in Germany. I have been getting a lot of you subscribing to me because of those flight attendant videos, and I have been getting quite a few video requests, and I'm gonna try and get onto them. I don't know how much longer I can make flight attendant videos for, but for the ones that I feel that are quite important and need to kind of be answered so that you get a better insight about that particular experience, I will try to make them. Actually, to be quite honest with you, I have a very long list of videos that would be great to do, but I don't think I really want to gear my channel towards just flight attending, so I'm gonna have to kind of space them out in order not to kind of oversaturate my channel as a kind of flight attendant channel, especially because I'm not currently a flight attendant. Okay, so enough beating around the bush. This particular video is going to be about my experience searching for an apartment in Berlin when I got stationed there while I was a flight attendant. Okay, so I will be looking at my phone a little bit, so just ignore that. I'm going to read out the comment, and then if you recognize it, then you know that you're the one who specifically requested it. Thanks for this video, Tabitha. I was wondering if you could speak about your experience searching for a rent house in your Ryanair base, and how was it? Cheers, smiley face. Okay, so I have talked about this topic before in other videos, but I guess this topic actually deserves its own video. So I started off knowing that I would be going to Berlin while I was living in Reykjavik. So that was when I received the email and I knew, okay, I'm going to Berlin. So I thought to myself, who do I know in Berlin? And it just popped up in my mind that, oh yeah, I have a friend who recently moved to Berlin because she married a German. So now they live in Berlin, she's based there, she lives there. So I contacted this friend. She told me after a couple of days or so, this was while I was on the training course, she contacted me and she told me they're planning on moving, and by the time I'll be done with the training course, the house will be free for me to use. And she said that I could rent their apartment from them for the remaining time that they had on their lease, so they would be moved out and I could just use that apartment for a few months. I thought about it and I thought, okay, this is a good idea. So I said yes, and I rented that apartment for a few, like 2 to 3 months. An apartment in general in Berlin cost around between 600 to maybe 900 euros, maybe more. 600 is on the lower end. So if you really wanted to live alone, you could actually find an apartment for yourself. If you didn't mind living with people, then of course you can save more money and you can get a rooms for as cheap as 300 if you wanted to. So that gives you a rough idea of how much things cost in Berlin. Now on to what the company recommended. Okay, so all cabin crew got a list of recommendations in the welcome pack. It included website recommendations such as WG Gesucht, eBay and Facebook. Like I said before, I was lucky enough to find an accommodation through a friend, so that's what I did at first. Okay, so just before the accommodation agreement was about to end, I started looking for places and I went on to a Facebook group, and I found this group on Facebook. I think I must have posted in it or commented on something. I think I posted in it, and then I got a reply from someone who looked at my Facebook profile and she said, hey, I have an apartment, we're working on it at the moment, would you be interested? I said immediately, yes, I'm interested. I guess it was quite an okay thing that she was approaching me because, you know, she's a woman. Sometimes, you know, when men approach you, sometimes, not all the time, when men approach you on Facebook, it's like, I wonder. But basically I responded, yes, I'm interested in this apartment that you have going. Organize a time for me to go and visit this place, which I did. I think it was still sort of under construction. I could see kind of mostly like them trying to partition stuff, adding in a bit more furniture. I think in one room, the one room that I ended up saying yes to, they were trying to partition it, so that was basically a curtain. This particular apartment had 2 rooms and they were trying to rent out the room separately, or if I had a friend, they said that I could ask a friend to move in with me, and to be honest, that was my absolute preference. I went to see the apartment. I said absolutely yes, I would like to move here. I'm gonna see if I can find somebody to move in with me. I asked my flight attendant friends to see if they would be interested. So I think I asked like 1 or 2 of my friends who I knew hadn't exactly secured somewhere yet, or who had been in a temporary place and then needed to kind of transition into a place like I was kind of transitioning, like couple of months into the job. One of them was like, no, I think the place maybe is a bit too expensive, I want someone cheaper. They had already found their own way. So I just went back to this landlord and lady, and told them that, okay, I'm still interested, but I haven't found somebody to share with, and could you find someone to share with? I don't think it was going to be a problem for them. They ended up finding some guy, a Polish guy who had been in Germany for like 10-12 years or so. He could speak German perfectly, but he couldn't speak English. So if him and I were to live together, there would have been a bit of a language barrier. But at that time, I had gained a bit of interest in learning German. The landlord was saying that he's interested in improving his English, and then they told him that I'm interested in improving my German. So if we had perhaps lived together, we could have helped each other on those 2 points. But that's the story for now. I'll continue in a bit. So basically, they found this guy that I would end up sharing with. I went back to the apartment again. They texted me to tell me that information. I went back to the apartment again just to sign this contract of theirs, and the guy was there, like me, this Polish guy, and then these two landlords, the landlord and the landlady. So we were all there signing these contract papers. So for one of their rooms it was 350 euros and the other room was 400 euros. The reason they had the different prices was because one of them had access to a balcony as well as a separate living room. So one of them was almost like a mini apartment. I just thought to myself, okay, well, I guess I'll just save 50 euros and take the smaller room. And this was the room which was quite bright and sunny, had a lot of light. Would have actually been great for filming. Had loads of light. It was very quite modern, art deco, already designed pretty much. So I had already agreed on the lower price one, and the other guy the Polish guy who they told me they found for me to share with had agreed on the other one. We signed the papers, we were all happy, we shook hands, we were smiling, happy that this is done. You know, when I get a good vibe from somebody, I try to just roll with it. I was not doing too much investigation. They made this process at the start very easy and simple for me, and so I was very agreeable. I was very happy to kind of go along with the process. I just felt quite lucky that everything was going quite smoothly. Little did I know. Anyway, I just felt quite happy that everything was going quite smoothly despite this apparent so-called bureaucracy in Germany, which I had not experienced yet. They were making it easy for me, they were making it simple for me, and I believe that it would have been a simple process if I had had a bit more knowledge on cultural norms when it comes to renting. I'll get onto that later. Okay, so basically I went back, and then a couple of weeks went by and it was almost time for me to move out of that other apartment, the one that I was living in. This particular area that I was living in, it took me just over an hour to get to the airport from that specific place. But in the new place, it would take me half an hour or around half an hour. So I was really happy to be moving closer to the airport, because then, you know, I just have like more peace of mind, more ease, and they do recommend that you are within 1 hour's distance of the airport for the job. Not recommend, sorry, that's like a instruction. You have to be within 1 hour's distance from door to door from your house to the airport. So I was going to be closer. Some people even live 10 minutes away from the airport, some crew that is. I was happy that I'll be closer to the airport. I was happy that these people made the process quite easy for me, you know, with me posting a simple post in Facebook and them contacting me directly, choosing me out of all the other people who were looking, choosing me, and then coming to view the place, signing the contract on the second viewing, them finding me a housemate. Like, I wasn't really picky, because also another thing is this Polish guy, he had a girlfriend, so I was like rest assured that he was just kind of like minding his own business while I'm minding my own business. So yeah, he was already coupled up. He'd been in this country for many years. I think the girlfriend was even German and everything, but we would just be living in the same space and actually sharing a bath. I'm not sure if I would do that now. I think I'll be a little bit more picky at this point. Everything was kind of going smoothly. What happened next? Yeah, so then just a couple of days before I was about to move in, I think we had an agreement that I would pay on the first day of moving in. They contacted me and they were like, oh, can you pay the deposit? And I was like, sure. Absolutely, of course I can pay the deposit. I guess they had forgotten our agreement where I would like pay on the first day, or maybe there was a few unspoken things, misunderstanding. They were telling me something like, oh, we need you to pay us in cash. No, I think I texted them about how do I collect the key, because I wanted to collect the key before moving in, like maybe a day or two before moving in. I think I'd already packed my stuff. I was just ready to go. The day that I was meant to move in was probably even like a day off work, so everything was kind of like fitting in place. I didn't even have to request an extra day or anything. It was literally just my day off. So I was texting the wife, not the wife, sorry, I was texting the landlord. So basically the landlord, when I refer to the landlord, I'm talking about a couple. The landlord is the actual owner of the house, and then the landlord's girlfriend, they're like in their partner, girlfriend, whatever, they're like probably in their 60s or something, or 50s or 60s or something, and they're like boyfriend, girlfriend. But yeah, technically the landlord is the guy who owns the place, and then his girlfriend is the one who has mostly communicated. I think it's because she was the one that was more confident in English, and that's the reason why she was doing most of the communication. Is this in my way? No, it's not. It's the shadow over here. She was the one who kind of reached out to me on Facebook. She was the one who I was communicating with on WhatsApp. I did have the landlord's, like the guy's number as well, but I didn't really communicate with him that much. In that moment when we were talking about me paying the deposit, which was a couple of days before moving in, we had this agreement. We agreed that I would pay on the day that I move in. I don't know what happened. Something got lost in the way. I asked for the key. They asked for the deposit. I said, sure, why not? Of course, definitely. Then they said, you have to pay in cash. And I was like, I'm happy to pay the deposit, but I don't really want to pay in cash. Like here in the UK, that's not really a norm. To pay your rent and to pay your deposit, that's more like something that you would do, not even in Uganda. In Uganda, people literally put money in people's bank accounts. Some other country with rules like that. But then they were asking me to pay in cash. I said to them, I don't feel comfortable with that, but I'm more than happy to pay you into your bank account directly in euros into your bank account, because I did have an Irish bank account. So easy to transfer money from one euro account to another. It would maybe take one day, maybe take 24 hours. I think that was a Friday or Thursday we were talking, so it might take until Monday, but it's like these transfers are so fast. Anyway, they were against me transferring the money via online banking, and they were kind of really, what's the word, scared of like the money not reaching them or me reversing it. And it's like such a lack of trust that I'm trusting you that you're, you know, not weirdos, like to come and rent your place, but you're not even trusting me to give you a little, in fact, you're trusting me with the whole house. You're trusting me with that, but you're not trusting me enough to be able to give you an online bank payment. That was a bit weird to me, that there was like this whole like lack of trust. Suddenly there was this lack of trust because I wanted to pay them online and not in via cash. So they said to me, sorry, something's crawling on my leg. So they started getting like rowdy, and not really rowdy, but like in text they started getting like defensive and like a bit was rude. I don't know, but they were like, I was panicking because I was like, where am I gonna go? Like these people are like, I don't know, it was almost like they were kind of creating a barrier for me to move into this place by me not actually being agreeable to paying by cash. For me, culturally, it doesn't really make sense to pay something by with cash if I can literally send it to you, like unless you actually need that money and you're saying, actually, could you come and give it to me now because I actually have a plan for that money, then it makes sense for me to pay by cash. But if it's literally because you don't trust me, it's like, and then he went online and started YouTubing how to reverse, how bank payments can be reversed. I even called Bank of Ireland. I even called these people and asked them, is this actually possible for a payment to be reversed? They said, it's not possible. It's actually not possible. It's not a credit card, you know. So then I just sent it. I just sent the money online, and that was basically me done. I then ruined my chance of me getting this apartment. I ruined my chance of me getting this apartment. They were angry, we were having misunderstandings, and everything was just blowing up in my face, and I was just, oh my god, what am I gonna do now? I lost this place, all because I didn't want to pay by cash because it's not my cultural norm. Later on, like weeks later, when I spoke to my friend about this, she told me it's actually very normal in Germany to pay by cash with a lot of things. And I was like, wow, if I had known this, if I had known that in Germany it's normal to pay by cash, I literally would have been so much more agreeable. But I didn't know that culturally in Germany you have to pay so many things in cash. I kind of got a clue when I got to the cabin crew accommodation for the training course, when they wanted us to pay like the accommodation fees, the accommodation in cash. That was a clue, but I didn't realize that it's actually a norm. My friend told me even for their new apartment, they had to pay 3 months worth of rent, all in cash. So if you are moving to Germany and you hear and someone tells you, oh, you pay this by cash or that, don't be like defensive. Don't lose your apartment just because you don't want to pay by cash. Culturally, this is normal in Germany. This is a cultural thing. And trust me, cultural slip-ups can really get you in a bad place. I say wherever you're moving, try to get to know the culture, because that will help you. And yeah, it was a little bit of ignorance on my part, but I think that they could have been a little bit more understanding. They were not thinking about safety. They're just thinking that they want the real money in their hand. They don't maybe feel as if online money is real money, which it is. Don't allow a lack of cultural understanding to trip you up. A lot of the time, these cultural differences can be a little bit ingrained in our personalities as well. I'll have to talk about that another time, but a lot of the times these cultural things can be quite ingrained in people's personality, and then they really want to stand for what they've always grown up with. And it's like, no, listen to my side. Like I said in another video, I didn't do much research about moving to Germany, about being black in Germany, about life in Germany. Wherever you're moving, crew, whoever's watching this video, wherever you're moving, try to do some research about the local culture, things that are normal there, just so you don't allow little things to kind of trip you up. Somebody told me about this website called Mieterschutzbund. Yeah, so I called them up. Yeah, okay, let me read out the company description. The Mieterschutzbund EV starts where tenants no longer know what to do because the tenancy law can hardly be overlooked by lay people. Okay. Tenants and landlords have different interests that they are trying to enforce, and that's why everyone now and then there is trouble. Too high ancillary costs, mold in the apartment, incomprehensible operating bills, costs. The range is wide. As a member of the Mieterschutzbund EV, you belong to a large community of solidarity, which is an interest organization, is clearly lobbying for tenant households. This is our job and we take it very seriously. A judicial representation cannot take place according to Law 79 of the Code of Civil Procedure. So that is actually a direct translation from German to English, so it might not have made 100% sense, but basically this organization exists to educate people, especially foreigners I guess, about German tenancy law, to help them how to deal with their landlords. It's just kind of a little bit of a union for tenants. In conclusion, I lost that apartment. I had to find an alternative. Things were a bit of a mess from then, and then that's when I started planning my exit strategy from Germany. But basically it was a bit of a stressful time, and it kind of made me think, why is this happening? All because of a cultural problem. Like we could have understood each other a bit better. We could have avoided this. Another thing I wanted to say is, because the Polish guy could speak German, he was in conversation with the landlord and making demands such as he wanted new furniture, he wanted a new bed, new mattress, new everything in his room, whereas I didn't really make those demands, so I was going to be stuck with used furniture. The landlord said to me, he's made these demands, so we're going to do this for him because you've not made any demands. This stuff is okay for you, so we will leave it as it is. So basically, because I didn't demand new furniture and new stuff, he was actually telling me to my face that because I didn't demand new furniture and new stuff, they're going to leave this furniture for me. I know for a fact that they had been going out shopping for new stuff like new beddings and new curtains, and she was sending me pictures on WhatsApp like, hey, do you like this? You like this? I said, yeah, it's great. I was not picky, like, because at the end of the day, if I don't like it, I'll just change it when I get in there. I can't really judge how a whole room is gonna look based on a picture, one picture of a curtain that you send me, but so I was like, yeah, it's perfectly fine. I'm in Germany, it's approaching summer now. Everybody's told me Berlin in summer is just like sweet, it's very good, and I was just kind of looking forward to it. I don't think I had 100% settled in because I hadn't exactly even joined the gym at that point. I had intentions to, but I was like, I wanted to make sure I was settled before I joined any gym. If I've not joined a gym, then I'm pretty much not settled. Moving back to the other point, if there's something that you see with a room or with an apartment or an accommodation that you don't like, you might as well tell them, this is not good enough for me. Can you please change it? That's what the Polish guy who I was about to share with. He told them that this mattress is not good enough for me, I like to have a new mattress. And they were prepared to do it. They were connecting on a cultural level because he spoke the language, you know, because he's been in this country for more than 10 years. I didn't know that I could make demands just like that. So I was like taking it as it is. It didn't look dirty, it didn't look bad, it didn't look like the worst thing in the world. So I was not really making many demands. In fact, there were so many things that needed work in that house. If I was to start, for example, in the bathroom, I think some of the tiling had graffiti on it, and I was just like, why? It was like art graffiti, as if like a proper artist had come in there and done a graffiti wall, an actual feature wall or a feature area of graffiti. And I was like, that's not exactly nice, but I'm not really used to telling landlords to, I mean, I have in the past told landlords, can you please remove this carpet and put a new one? And he said, okay, I'll see what I can do. And then in the end, he went and rented a rug doctor. He rented a rug doctor, and he steam cleaned the whole house, and it made such a big difference. So he didn't replace the carpet, but he literally went and steam cleaned it top to bottom, all 3 floors. That made a big difference. And that's the only demand that I've really made. I sometimes do demand for like, can you put like a lock on the door? But for this particular landlord, I didn't make any demands. I just wanted to make sure, okay, is there a lock on the door? Just to keep my stuff safe. When you first move into a place with someone, there has to be an element of trust. That's why you meet, and you just have to believe that, okay, I've met this person once. We both want to be safe, so let's just trust each other and hope for the best, you know? But guys, if you're moving to Germany, make sure you know about the cultural norms when it comes to just interacting with people, just out and about culture, renting culture, just normal things, so that you don't trip yourself over. Make sure if you are renting that you actually ask for what you want, because you could potentially get it. Like that landlord told me to my face, because you've not asked for anything else, this is okay for you. And then it's like, okay, well, actually I'm having a few ideas now about what I want. Make sure if they tell you that you have to pay by cash, you have some sort of contract in place. Okay, so after that hubbub happened, I checked the contract. I called up that specific company, and they had actually printed off a random rental contract online. So I called the company, which was stamped at the bottom of the contract, and they said, actually, these people have no association with us, so they shouldn't really be using our documents. So I was like, okay. So that's something that apparently some landlords do. They were using another random company's documents, associating it with themselves. They printed out a random German one, they printed out a random English one. They wanted to have a copy of my employment contract. So that's something that I actually gave to them. That is quite normal in Germany. They usually ask for a proof of employment or a proof of having a way of paying for the apartment. I have heard from other Germans while I was in Berlin, basically from them, that some people swoop in and basically pay for the whole year as a way of securing that specific apartment, and landlords give favor to them. I have heard about that. Yes, there is a lot of bureaucracy, more than what I experienced, but there is a standard way of how things happen. For example, usually in Germany, you can go to viewings. They'll call you for a viewing, and there'll be like 10 other people there for that one apartment. You'll submit a pack, your proof of employment, pay slips or passport, ID. There's some specific documents that you submit, basically to show them that, hey, you know, I'm ready to rent this place. And then it's in their power to choose you. And sometimes they will choose that one person who can pay the whole year or even 3 years worth of rent. There are some really, really nice apartments in Germany. You know, it's Europe, it's like got very traditional architecture. You have some of these apartments that don't even have lifts, that you have to walk right to the top. Big windows. The big windows are a little bit scary sometimes. It's very easy to live very central in Berlin, have like good access to everywhere. So that was my personal experience about trying to find an apartment in Berlin. It started off easy, smooth. I felt like things were naturally falling into place for me, but then it ended up turning sour, all because of cultural problems, culture shock, tripping up because of lack of understanding on both parts. I didn't want to do what they were telling me to do. They didn't want to do what I was telling them to do. Oh yeah, by the way, keep going. I did send that deposit, and then when it reached their bank account, which it did, they ended up sending it back to me. That was good. I've always felt like quite bad about this story, but man, lots of stories that I've just untold. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Please do head over to follow me on Instagram. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, as well as turn your notifications on so you know exactly when I've uploaded a video. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.